Are we here? Are we? Hey, we in the
Hey,
house.
hey.
Hey, sister girl. Hello, am I still here? I'm still here.
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me
That's
now?
it. I hear you loud and clear.
Hey, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you as well. How's it going out there in sunny California?
It's going.
That's good. That's
Here I
good.
am. Good to
That's
see
right.
your face. I'm glad to
Thank
be
you. Thank
back.
you. Thank you.
I
Glad to have you
apologize
back.
apologize for my absence last week. Life happens and it comes at you fast. So you
It
gotta react
does. It
fast.
does. It does. I think you've done a phenomenal job of recouping and
Thank
responding
you.
and picking up the pieces. But welcome to
Thank you.
another episode of Let's Get It Together
Yes,
with
yes, yes.
Jnine
And Jezzi.
on this hot 702.5 FM hot station.
Yes, yes.
Once again, we are back. So let me jump into something real quick because we haven't been able to do our dirty dining. And you know what? Our listeners
They
are
miss it, huh?
feeling the absence
Mm,
of such vital information,
they miss it.
right?
Yep, yep.
So there's been I guess for the last, since like September 21st, where I get my information has not been providing the dirty dining report. And
Okay,
so I reached and went a little deeper and decided I was going to just go on to the health department myself
okay,
and take a look at the reports.
okay,
So I'm going to cut on into that because we're supposed to have a guest. My guest is
okay,
on her way.
okay. No
Our
worries.
guest is on her way. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say that to the listeners that are, that have been following our Ratchet Restaurant report, that let me just say that the food establishments are periodically inspected by the health district staff to ensure ongoing compliance with pertinent sections of the regulations. And so, while good management practices are important to the sanitary maintenance of an establishment, more emphasis, and this is where restaurants get it twisted when the inspectors show up,
Uh-huh.
more emphasis is placed on risk factors
Mm.
that have potential to contribute to foodborne illness.
Okay. So they're trying to prevent it. They're being proactive where everyone else is working, like probably trying to catch up. Those that aren't already on top of it.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. So what happens is the restaurants start to feel like they're being treated unfairly or that they're coming in looking for the problem. They are,
They are.
essentially.
They're being
Yeah.
proactive. We can appreciate that.
We
That
appreciate that.
prevents the spread of all those stomach illnesses that don't nobody need. We're definitely coming into a season where, whew, your health is mandatory. Time to duck and cover again. It's hibernation season coming in.
Time to
Coming
duck
again.
and tuck for real. So with that being
Go
said,
ahead.
I went on to the health department website, which
Okay.
I've done occasionally, but this time I said,
Okay.
well, I'm gonna do my own research and see. There were tons of reports done, tons of
Oh,
restaurants that were
okay.
evaluated on their periodic inspections that passed with flying
Okay.
colors.
That's
It was
good
a
to hear.
it was a beautiful thing to see. The only one that stood out to me are the ones that's closed, and there was only one closed in the time period in which we bought the people the last report. So it might have
Okay.
been 2 weeks now,
Okay.
and it was called Protein House. A little disappointed because I'm thinking,
Right? We hopeful. We look at those. See, that's that judging the book by its cover type of thing.
very much
Hmm.
so. But when a name means something,
Right.
right? So I'm thinking, anyway, what, and see, they were closed. So I looked for restaurants that had a C or below and
Okay.
were closed. 35 demerits or more.
Okay.
Protein House was closed. It's on 9555 East Southeastern. They were closed on a
Oh, that's my
routine
neck of the woods.
inspection.
Okay.
Yep. They had an imminent health hazard, and their issue is this sewage waste not being disposed of in a proper manner. So
Okay.
that's usually the first alarm. And then the inspector knows once I go in, I'm probably going to find issues because you're not disposing of your sewage and your waste in the proper manner. And so it's pollution,
Right.
polluting our streets. So they wound up with a C grade, and they were closed. And
Hmm.
as of the report, it appears that they weren't reopened as of that time. Other than that, there were a couple that did get C grades that it didn't go into a lot of details. They
Okay.
just had quite a few demerits. One was a Catering on West Flamingo. The other was a Nozomi Sushi restaurant on West Charleston. They had 37 demerits, which usually constitutes a shutdown, but it
Right.
didn't say that they were shut down.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, yeah, so I hope our guest is okay. She's uh, she's running late. I think she ran into some traffic. Um,
That's
you
not
know,
hard to do in Vegas.
it's not. But that's why I tell people you should GPS how far it is. GPS is pretty good enough to let you know how long it's going to take and what time your
Hmm.
arrival is, even though I think we need a whole new GPS system and a whole new GPS girl. You know
I
what I'm saying?
concur.
Yeah.
I definitely
She's
concur.
pissing me off. She
She
really
done
is
did
pissing
some
me off.
things that had me real. It was real unattractive, and who could you be mad at? You can't be mad at AI. What's she gonna do? She don't give a damn that you lost, and she took you
She
the long
doesn't.
way home.
Speaking of AI, apparently the Oakland Police Department did a. I don't know if you heard. They are. I guess they're piloting. This is totally off subject, but totally on subject in terms of
Okay.
AI. They're piloting a robot police officer
In Oakland,
in our
California.
hometown. In our hometown.
Mm, good luck with that.
So the argument was we have this robot, this AI that is being programmed by whom, and if they are involved in, say, some old weird kind of because they're remote control, who's responsible?
Mm,
So you accidentally kill somebody, or it accidentally does something that was remote controlled. Who's
hmm.
responsible? The
That's
controller on the other end or
interesting.
the programmer?
Or the programmer. It's interesting because I've read about it along the way about them trying to implement these AI
We
things,
have
but apparent.
arrived.
Oh, she's here.
No, I'm saying we've arrived in
Oh,
our.
okay. Well,
Yep.
no, I was gonna say because what happened is a lot of times they're afraid that the programmer, their biases, their prejudices, and their racism is also encoded into the program of AI. So you don't know,
You better talk. You better
you
talk
know,
that talk.
if the programmer has those issues, and it's gonna reflect in how they deal with the public.
That is correct. That is correct.
I ain't ready
So,
for that.
I'm not ready for it either. And I just
Keep my
thought that
ass in
was
the
just
house.
a. Yeah. I thought it was odd in the conversation because
Okay.
the way the chief of the police described it was like a riddle. He was like, "Well, I know people would imagine that in this world it would not be." Yeah, and I was like, "Well, what are we trying to do here?
Mm,
What exactly are we trying to do?" So, just off
mm,
subject, off topic.
that's
I
okay.
thought that was yeah, I thought that was a
Can I
little
say
different.
something off topic? Off topic?
Yeah, we please do.
You look pretty today.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I
You're very
feel
welcome. I
exhausted.
mean, I feel you look good.
I'm going to make a public statement. Don't judge me, not you, because I know we don't do that. And this is
We
a
don't do
this is
that.
a judge free space. But I'm exhausted, and I'm
Okay.
exhausted because I did a little stand up last night, and I decided that I am no longer going to entertain things like Hennessy and joints before I go on stage.
You are a mess. And I just bought a dang gallon of Douce. And girl, I am ready to crack that sucker open. Don't look like that.
Well, well,
Douce
that's totally fine. That's
is
totally
my
fine.
that's my spirit that brings about change. Alcohol.
So, nothing wrong with that. Again, judge free.
Thank
For
you.
me, I cannot do it on stage because I found myself a little aggressive.
Well, yeah, you was on. I
Uh,
watched it and it was cute. And you remember what you described to me earlier today. I actually thought it was funny and I liked it. So yeah, you judged yourself a little too harshly. I thought it was funny.
Okay. All right. That's good to hear. I did not post it on my page for those of you who might want to see a little bit of my stand up. I'll leak a little bit, but
Yeah,
I was
you
a little
should.
raunchy.
Yeah, you
And I was a
was.
little bold and I was aggressive. Like I was using words that I don't typically use. You know,
The
that ninja word
TMD
was like
came out
on.
in her. That TMD came out.
I was calling Oakland like I was throwing gang signs. I said it about 3 times. I'm from Oakland.
No. Oh, like who she
You want
must
some?
show
Are
them
you
she
from
got
the
something in her
streets?
purse. She got something in her purse. You better settle down coming up
Yeah,
on stage
okay.
like that.
Tell the host don't be giving. She should not be having us. Anyway, let me be careful because where the venue is, there is no alcohol. So
Well,
it's kind of a BYOB. It's kind of a
TMI.
parking lot pimping type
You
thing.
was in the parking lot with the hen dog and the police. I understood. Understood.
So Miss Karma and Miss Osborne are watching. Thank you for joining us. We
Hey,
love
Miss
the
Karma,
support.
Miss. Yes, always,
We love the
always.
support. So I just want to say before our guest comes, because she has arrived safely and in one piece, that
Yay.
I'm going to continue to emphasize to everyone, please, 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 please get your sleep and get your rest.
I
Okay?
agree.
So, and I say that because that's where restoration happens.
Right.
That's
I
where your
agree.
body rejuvenates. You need to get adequate rest. You need to get 6 hours or more, especially for my ladies. Get your sleep. Get your rest.
Get it. So you
Right.
won't be so heavy on the eye cream, but I
Right.
still use a bunch of it because
So despite it all, um, thank you for saying that was a roundabout way of saying thank you for saying that I look nice
she took
because
a long
underneath this
route.
I want to sleep. I want to sleep because we stayed till about midnight over
Okay.
at the venue, kind of an after party type of thing.
Yeah, you be busy.
I know. And listen, we have some things coming up in the comedy world that I'm really excited about that I'm actually going to join.
Yay.
So I've got to get my A game and get my shit together
Okay.
on the comedy side. Like I'm
You
going to do
getting
some
it together?
writing, getting it together, thus the nature of the show. Um, because I'm going to be coming to the Bay Area and I'm going to be
Yeah, I'm
on
gonna
a
pull up for that one.
ticket. So I got
I'm
to
gonna pull
really,
up for that one.
I got to tighten up. I got to tighten the
Yeah,
ropes
'cause the
and I got
town ain't gonna show you no mercy, girl. Ain't gonna show
but
you
they
no mercy.
coming.
You gonna have to get in the streets and start flirting or something before you get on
I'm
stage.
have to
Make
show
sure
a
they
little leg,
laughing. Yeah.
show a little
No
thigh.
mercy. Yeah. Not little.
Perfect.
A lot in the town.
Perfect. So, okay. So, just getting a little directive here, making sure we on
Okay.
point. Let me make sure that that I do a proper in. Oh, my Facebook looks crazy. Uh, what's going on? Why is it doing it? You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. And I know it's hard to use certain buzzwords because we are all being policed, so to speak. Uh, so, but Meta's hating on me.
Meta.
I've been
Okay.
posting things that they won't allow to share, and I have a whole public platform. So when
Yeah,
people are
I
like,
see
"Make it
you.
public, make it public," my platform is public. So with that being said, I don't want to. It's I've covered a couple of topics, but our guest has arrived, and I am so proud of this pretty lady. Um, let me, that whole let's get it together. It's funny because I was not gonna I was gonna change the name of the show, and E. Carice was like, "No, don't
Right.
change it, because we really need to get our shit together."
And that's on a massive. Everybody, there is no one immune from getting their shit together. Nobody.
No one. Hey, Vicky, thank you for tuning in. Yeah,
Hey.
this isn't really letting me. This is doing something. It's funky. Meta don't want me to be great because they know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Anyway.
know. I'm not a technically experienced person myself, so I don't be understanding half of what's going on.
Okay, so am I adding to the stream? Is that my responsibility to add to the stream, or is that the director's responsibility? I'm not real
I'm not
sure,
sure.
but it does say add to the stream. So that would mean I did something. I'm not technically inclined either.
Well,
So,
she never
E.
you
Carice in the
yay.
background. I'm hoping I have not, because I'm trying to bring our guest on. But while we're waiting
I
to bring
did
her on,
from my view.
oh, okay, all right. So
You just
we're
need to
gonna
pull up in the seat.
we're gonna resituate. We're gonna resituate. But in the meantime, we have today Miss Tiffany. She is a model. She's an actress. She's a humanitarian. She started modeling at 19 years old. Was born in Mombasa,
Mombasa.
Mombasa, like Mufasa, Kenya.
No, she didn't.
And we
Beautiful.
cannot we cannot ignore so we got the African side of her, but we cannot ignore the what we call it is the Blasian.
Yeah, Japanese, half
That's
Japanese.
the Japanese side of her. She is always been in the beauty industry. She's been in the beauty industry. We met in church, so we
Oh.
understand the beauty of the love of the Lord. Yes, we do. We have praised together. We cried together. We held hands together, and I'm just so impressed on her growth. And without further ado, we have Miss Tiffany here.
What's up?
Hey.
What's up? What's
Hello.
up?
Hi,
Hi.
Tiffany.
What's
I'm
up?
Jesse from. No, I met you before. Nice to
Absolutely.
see your face again.
Yeah,
I don't
nice
think.
to see
Do you
you
remember
again.
me from when we had dinner? I think it was about a year ago.
Wow, I don't remember you,
What
but
were
it's
we
nice to see
at?
you again.
We were at Kona
Kona
Grill.
Grill.
Okay, at the restaurant.
Uh
Yeah, at the
Oh, okay,
restaurant.
I remember.
Yeah, yeah.
So, welcome. Look at
Thank
Welcome.
you.
what Mr. Malone. He say peace,
Mr.
queens.
Malone.
I
Hi,
love it.
Mr. Malone.
Right? Blast from the past. So I thought it would be great to bring Tiffany on. She is not always available, so when I got a chance to snatch her up, I snatched her up because not only do I want the world to grace this beautiful soul, she's more than just a pretty face. She is actually a very beautiful soul, and people mistake that, and that's a pretty girl thing, I'm sorry to say.
Unfortunately.
I'm just so sorry to say. It's fortunate and unfortunate, and we'll get to that. But in the meantime, tell the people about yourself and also tell them where they can find you to follow you on social media and what's been up lately.
So I think you kind of covered everything. Modeling, acting. I'm working on a few things right now, some projects. I'm working on a book, actually, that I've been writing for like the last 3 months. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have that, just talking about the journey and, things that I went through and, a lot's been happening. I feel like I'm transitioning into this place. So I just turned 28 on the 7th. So I feel old. I'm getting old. I'm getting up there.
Happy birthday. Happy belated
Thank
birthday.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
So I just did a shoot. I think that was yesterday or day before. But just working on some stuff, kind of planning my life out, what I want things to look like by like 30. Working on some music too. So I just left the studio. What was that, like an hour ago? Yeah.
Okay. So we got music. We got books. We got acting.
Yeah, the book is a process though. It's very
Tell me about it.
It's yes.
Don't take 10 years like I'm doing. I'm 10 years, 12 years into the making of my book, but
yeah, the book is very personal. It talks about a lot of things that I just went through in life and entertainment, things that I saw, things that I had to go through, a lot of hurt. It was like I was writing it and I was like crying. There were just certain parts of myself that, and it was also healing too, to be able to write some stuff down as well. And really just be able to help people, like people who are going to be like following behind my path, I guess.
yes.
Like for them to be able to have
Like a
something.
footprint.
Yeah. You asked me something else. You said, what'd you say? You had asked me something.
I don't know. It was pretty much just what you had going on, what's new in your life. Before we get into some more of the cultural things, I feel like I was telling Jezzi that I feel like this theme this month is the tip of Africa type deal.
I thought you was going to say Broke Nigga October.
No, really.
Just kidding.
If you watch my stand up, girl, this is pimp season.
Just joking, because I'm paid.
Brush your shoulders off. And ladies are pimps too. Taylor's watching. Thank you for joining, Taylor. We have our regulars. I love it. So, with the book, because now you really intrigued me, because I've talked a little bit about my book, books, plural. What made you feel like you needed, other than healing, because that's the obvious,
right,
that you needed to put this down in book format?
I think that I had a lot of spare time on my hands, and it's something I always wanted to do, and I think I'm in a place where I'm in a really good space where I'm single, I don't have kids. Like it's it's like the perfect thing for me to do. And then I was just feeling an incline to do that. I felt like God had brought me through a lot to be 28, and so I felt like I kind of owed that to him to kind of get started and just be a blessing to other people. Like, a lot of people, like you said, they see your outer appearance, they see what you look like, they see you taking pictures and blah 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 blah, and they really don't know like the backstory or and so maybe it would just be a help for other people.
I agree.
Yeah, so I felt an incline right now just to do it while I have the time.
That sounds phenomenal, and I look forward to that project. Now, I saw you in a video. I know there's been a few videos, but this one in particular, you were out in the desert.
Yeah.
Girl, you look fire.
Thank you.
Who was the artist? Was he a local artist?
No. So the funny story about that was like, I had got asked, so we all went to, Sean Paul had like this reggae party type thing, and I ended up meeting his videographer. And so his videographer was like, we need a model, blah, 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 for this video. And he was like, we'll pay you. And I'm thinking it's going to be like a rinky-dink, like somebody around the way, right? So we go out to the damn desert, in the middle of nowhere. It was super cold. They had like this like blue Ferrari sports car or something. And I asked the artist, I said, well, are you famous? He's like, no, I'm just a regular, da da da. So we end up doing a video, and they posted it, and like it got like thousands and thousands and thousands of views. There were people hitting me up from like London, UK. He's Jamaican. So all these people were like hitting me up like, I'm your biggest fan. It was so funny. But yeah, his name is Busy Signal. He's a big deal. He's a rapper out of Jamaica.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. See, I feel like this show is all thing Africa for some reason. Like our last guest was from Kenya as well. She did the skincare products. Yeah, she did a launch over the weekend. And then the next week it was a young lady from Belize. I don't know. It just happened to be October month. Maybe that's my soul yearning for the enrichedness of our home.
Yeah, our culture.
our
our
culture.
culture.
Right.
Hmm.
Very true. Very true. So, what kind
So
of acting project? Just out of curiosity, what kind of acting do you do? Is it modeling and modeling? What kind of modeling?
Well, I think it all falls under the same umbrella. The last project I did was a project with Chris Spencer. He did Real Husbands of Hollywood. So if
Okay.
you remember that show with
yeah,
like
Yes.
Kevin
they're
Hart,
supposed to be bringing it back,
Actually,
yeah.
right?
I watched it on rerun not too long ago.
Yeah. So he just did a movie back on the strip, and I did a small part in that. I don't know. I think that's supposed to be released like toward the end of the year.
Oh,
But
nice.
Chris Spencer's super cool. So shout out to him. But yeah, that was the last project that I did, and then there's some other like small shows that I'm working on. Like I'm a host for. It's not a game show, but it kind of is, and it's targeted for like gamers. So I'm the host for that. Me and my co-host Keith.
Oh,
So hopefully that
wow.
gets picked up. But we just travel to different places. Like the last pilot we did was at HyperX Arena. So
Oh,
it's just
nice.
really for like
Hmm.
gamers, people who are into like Fortnite, Madden, Call of Duty, that kind of stuff. So it
Okay.
was
My
fun. It was
daughter
fun.
watches that stuff, and she just will have it on her television like 24 hours a day. So that gamer industry is huge.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It
It
is.
is. A lot of money too. They make money.
Yes,
And
they
Yeah.
they make
do.
money.
Yes,
It's like
they
college
do.
kids, high school kids that are
That's
like
right.
turning into professional gamers. Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
millionaires.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, they
Right?
absolutely.
are.
Okay. So I can't help it. I need to go back to Africa, like right away.
Girl, you might find your husband over there.
This
I'm
is
going.
sign us up. This is is that the humanitarian side of you?
Absolutely. So my mom's side, my mom and like my grandpa, my uncles, everybody's from Kenya. So the backstory on that, my dad was in the military. He's originally from Okinawa. And so he got in the military, I think when he was like 19 or 20. And then he was based in Mombasa. And that's how he met my mom. So my mom is African, my dad is Japanese.
Love
And
it.
so they ended up, he thought she was so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And, then we went to Germany. And then from Germany, we came to the States. But yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I'm like really heavily involved in Kenya. I do a lot like with the churches there, like a lot of the people that are connected to me, like my reverend, my pastor. I help out, like build the church a lot.
Oh,
My sister Maureen, that's there. Her kids, I like basically take care of her kids. I put them in school, all kind of stuff.
Are those little beautiful black
My
children I be seeing?
babies,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
my
That's
babies,
lovely.
nice,
yeah,
nice.
So how
Yeah.
often? Because I think in my knowing you, you've gone back twice.
yeah. So I was there this time last year,
Okay.
and I stayed for 6 months. It feels like it's been longer than that because I miss home so much, but I stayed for 6 months.
That's a long time.
It is a long
I
time.
mean, I would love to have 6 months to spend
But
in the
it's so
homeland.
much fun. Like people, okay, I had my own perception of Kenya before I went. And when I tell you, sis, when I went,
Tell us,
I went
please.
for
I
1 month.
know.
I was supposed to be there for 1 month. I stayed for 6. That's how lit it was. Like I kept going back to the immigration office. They were like, "Okay, you can only do this 3 more times out the like out." I think it was like, you can only stay out the country so long before they be
Before they
like, "You gotta
right,
take
you
your ass
better
back."
right. Or we ain't gonna let you back. You better figure it out. You're gonna be stuck here.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So it was just a vibe. Like if you've ever been to New York, Nairobi is just like New York, which is our capital. So I was doing a lot of modeling and stuff there.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that we have here, the layout of the city is kind of like London, how they have like the roundabouts and then the clocks.
That's the pictures that I saw.
Yeah, but the city like Nairobi is just like New York, but with Africans. They party harder than we do. The food is better. Like the culture is it's just a vibe. Like I would
It
tell
is a
any,
vibe.
yeah, it's a place
Yeah.
you could definitely live. Like, yeah.
So what I read was it is actually the largest city, I guess, on the continent or something like that. And
Probably
it's
so.
the oldest. It's
Yeah.
the oldest.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you'll be surprised. You'll find a lot of American people that go there. They end up staying because they like it so much. Like one of my friends,
Wow.
he's a really big photographer there. Emmanuel. He was born in New York City, but he's Kenyan, and he ended up going back to go stay because he enjoys it so much.
Oh, wow.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that too.
And the
Right?
guys are hot too in Kenya.
Very much so. Look at my girl. Jesse is like, oh God, a sigh of relief that there
Right.
are some
And they
gorgeous
still like
men.
Yeah, and
living up
they have
their
at
beautiful
life.
home.
skin.
And they're
Beautiful
like,
skin.
I
So
love
let me ask you, what are, I asked this of the guests last week, what are some of the misconceptions that we as Americans, African Americans, if we could call us that, um, because we hear all the time Africans don't like us and that we're not welcome there. But it's the media that makes us feel like we shouldn't go back home because it is very enriching.
Right.
It is, it's full of resources. What's some of the misconceptions that you could clear up about our homeland?
I think that they portray this continent of like there's babies that are like hungry and they have worms in their stomach and all that. And I think even for me, before going back, I felt like, well, what's there to do? There's probably just giraffes and zebras everywhere. And no, it's like there was a piece of me that had opened up when I went to Kenya that I never experienced in America. Like, I think that was like, even like I have a friend, for example, she's like a, what's it called? Like an influencer online, like a social media influencer.
Okay.
And she was like one of the first people to teach me how to dress. Like I didn't really have that sense of like, because growing up in Vegas, it's not really like a place where a person grows up. There was a lot of areas like in high school and middle school that I didn't get to experience that I experienced when I went over to Kenya.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think America's perception, because a lot of Americans have never went to the homeland.
That's right.
They've never been to Africa.
That's right.
They don't have any outlets to go. So that's why when I was there, I tried to get as much footage as possible to show people.
You did.
Yeah.
You did a
And
phenomenal job. And let me stop you real quick. That's what I asked you. Where can our listeners find you on your social?
Oh, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Kenyanese. It's KenyanNese because it's Kenyan and Japanese together. And then you guys can add me on Facebook at Tiffany Hatano. So it's TIFFANYHATANO. That's my Facebook page.
Got the handles.
Yeah.
And I ain't trying to be funny. We're going to touch on this in just a second, but she is single. Matter of fact, everybody on this panel is single.
Right?
Oh,
You are not
We're
alone.
going to go there in just a minute, but I'd like to encourage any of the listeners, if they want to call in, if they want to talk about any of the subjects that we're talking about, 702-551-5261. You can call in and speak to Tiffany. You can call in to speak to Jezzi or myself. If you have any food experiences or any questions you want to ask about Kenya, about anything, we're open here. Give us a call. All right? So without further ado, because the time wraps up so quick, speaking of being single, there's two things I actually want to ask. How did you, because it took me a long time, so to see you at 28 reconcile your spiritual life with this entertainment life, it took me 40 years to feel comfortable in my own skin, to be able to go on stage and start to present myself. And then it took another couple years to shed some of the things that I feel the church was binding.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like it had me in some sort of chains in terms of what I should and shouldn't be doing. How did you reconcile that and come to terms with knowing you would have to do oftentimes swimwear? I see you, beautiful body and showing skin that we were taught we shouldn't be showing. How did you reconcile that?
Honestly, at first,
Religion's hard, girl. Religion's hard.
yeah, and at first it was challenging. We come from the church. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I always had a desire to be in entertainment. I always had a desire to model, to do acting. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing those things. I think that a lot of times church people and the church can be very religious. And you have to be careful, too, because a lot of times people will say things not because it's right to say, but because they don't want you to do it, or they wish that they would have did it when they were younger, or they don't have the connections to do it. And
Or the courage.
Yeah, or the
right?
courage. And I've always had just like a lot of goals and dreams for myself. And I don't want to say I'm hot-headed, but I don't let people like imply what they want me to do on me. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're not going to stop me from my dreams or from pursuing anything because you don't think that it's right.
And that's
You
why
know.
I'm really cautious about who lays hands on me. You know, I had issues. You know, Jezzi know, and Tiffany knows, because I've had too many people lay hands in a way that was supposed to direct my life in a way that I knew was not a calling.
And I think some people too are afraid. A lot of people, pastors, leaders, whoever in the church, a lot of them have never experienced anything outside of that, you know? So to them, again,
be
being
scary
religious, or they're just super religious and say, oh, that's wrong, or I don't give a damn. I love me, I love my body, and that's it. And if anybody feels a way about that, that's between them and God. God
really
didn't
is.
convict me about what I'm doing, so why should I, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I respect that because you did it early.
Yeah.
Right? So it did not hinder you and make you feel like you have some regrets. Not that I have regrets, but I do feel if I had not allowed
People.
to put the chains on me, that I had to, fight my way out of that. And thus, I get on stage and talk about ninja this and ninja that, and F this and F
But
that.
it was a journey. Like, it's a process, because there were a lot of times that I would beat myself up. I would cry. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a picture that was taken of me and Michael Blackston, and it was posted on Instagram. This is a couple years ago. And the
With
back
his own nasty self.
girl, ain't he? But anyhow, it was me, him, and some friends. We were all partying in Hollywood, just having a good time. And it was posted on Instagram, and a lot of people in the church saw it. And the backlash that I got from like a lot of people, and I remember at the time I was feeling so down about it, and I was so sad, and I was like beating myself up. But it was a process up until now to really not care what people think, because nobody is in your shoes and they don't walk your walk, so they don't know. So I don't care. I don't listen to what they have to say, because what if you become very successful and you make a lot of money in that field? Then what? What is the church going to have to say? Then they want you to bless that tithing basket,
Stop
right?
playing. You better get that 10%, girl.
Right?
Exactly.
But that's the truth.
Exactly.
So I had to tell my mom that, and I don't know if she's watching. Taylor says so. She models. I need to know how she got started. So we're gonna answer Taylor's question. How did you get started? Before I go into a rant about that, but let me say, I had to tell my mom that. I'm like, look, Miss Wells, Apostle Wells,
I love your mom, though.
don't let my language keep me from getting paid, because then it's going to elevate the whole family. It's just language. It's just language.
Right.
Tell me, you can use everything but the F word, but the F word is the one I like the most, lady.
But you know that, and yeah.
It's an emphasis. So, yep, Taylor wants to know. Leonard Harris is watching. Hey, Leonard. Lamont Hawkwood's watching. Thank you for supporting. How did you get started?
I got started when I was about 19. I had a friend that was already in entertainment, and she had a company, and she had picked like 12 of us. It were like, some were like models, some were bottle girls, some were just like really known in different cities.
Was that here in Vegas?
Yeah, it was Trina.
Okay.
I'm the bad Trina, yeah.
Okay.
And I was super young, though, at the time, and I remember she said, have you ever thought about getting into modeling? And I was like, no, I didn't. I was trying to do music at the time, like just young, not really having guidance. And she was like, no, I think you should model. So she ended up going back to Florida. She was with French Montana at the time. They were dating. And so she had this group called...
That's the T.
She had this group called Millionaire Girls Club. And it was like... Yeah, it was like 12 or 13 dime pieces, And I was so young at the time, I had blew the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? But now, looking at now, so yeah, she's the one that put the bug in my ear. She was like, you should start modeling. So I got different photographers that I worked with, and I had started that way. I personally wouldn't recommend that to people, just because you always want to do things the legit way. There's a lot of situations that I ran into. Just trying to hurry up and climb the ladder, you know what I'm saying? And I think everything is timing too. So, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend someone to do it like that. Now that I look back, I wouldn't have did it like that. I would have did it the right way, gone through an agency.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been signed with an agency before. And I'm not opposed to it. The same thing that they do for you, you can also do for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does give you some structure, some exposure.
Yeah, it gives you
some
structure,
guidelines.
absolutely. And I always say you have to find where you fit, because a lot of the agencies are not for us. They're not for the sisters. They're not for curvy girls. They're not. And so you have to really find where you fit. And then two, always just read contracts, read paperwork. No agency should be taking more than 20 to 25% from you. So the same thing that I have really great connections, but the same thing that the agency can do, you can do for yourself too, you know?
Yeah, you just have to know. And thus, is that what the book sort of touches on? Is it though, or is it, does it touch on those experiences?
It talks about that. It talks about things that I went through in entertainment, period. Like, from different people to situations to seeing girls like coke down on the floor. Like, it's a lot of stuff, you know, that I want to tell, like, share with other people as well as young ladies. Like, if that's the way you want to go, then you have to also be prepared for what comes with that too.
How did you avoid that?
Some stuff I went through, and I'm just being transparent. I went through my phase of like doing stuff, and
Was it the pressure? Was it just because it was available? Was it?
I think it was available, and then, you know, just being young, you go through those things like, oh, I want to try this, and then you end up doing it, and then you get stuck on this, or you get invited to these Hollywood parties, and you're there at these parties, and then you get connected to these people, but I went through all that at a young age. I mean, I'm 28 now, so imagine from 19 up until now, there's a lot of things that I experienced and a lot of things that I felt like I had to go through for me to learn and to be who I am today, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and all of it's not all bad. I've been blessed to have some people that have just been a blessing. They didn't want anything from me, and it's hard to find that in that industry because it's so male dominated. And
that part.
Yeah,
that
everybody's
part.
looking at your body, and they want to do, you know. So you just have to kind of know how to move and shake, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And so 702-551-5261. Call in if you want to talk to Tiffany, if you want to talk to me and Jazz. We are here. So with the remainder of our time, I want to talk about what the future looks like for Tiffany. But before I do that, let's talk about pretty girl problems. Because you and I have had extensive conversations.
Yes,
me and
ma'am.
Jazz has had extensive conversations about being in a male-dominated field. Anytime you're in entertainment, and that at the end of the day, if I could be so raw, many of the men that you encounter, even now, I'm in stand-up comedy, and I'm constantly saying, you know, can we get some money? You know, how can we seal a deal? You know what I'm saying? Before you get to talking about can we sleep together? Because that seems to be,
definitely.
You know, that's the ultimate goal for a lot of men. That's unfortunate.
Right.
How do you ditch and dodge that as a single woman, no children, and absolutely stunning?
Strategically, I'm sure.
I don't know. That's a good question. But you know what's crazy? A lot of guys don't shoot their
Jonte.
shot. A lot of dudes don't shoot their shot. You have
feel
a
that way.
couple that's like, they'll tell me that they, you know, I like you, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But a lot of them don't shoot their shot. I've had situations, though, with different directors and, you know, situations where, like, they try it. But half the time, these guys are married and in relationships, you know, so it's like you really don't want that issue, you know.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't feel like I have those kind of problems. I feel like if you are
This is how
firm,
you present yourself?
yeah, if you're
Yeah.
firm and you let people know, like, hey, this is what I'm about, this is what I'm trying to do, people will respect that. But I did go through that a lot early on in my career, a lot. Like, I've had situations where it was just me being innocent, like, hey, can you help me? Can you open this door? It's like, either if you ain't giving them no coochie or you ain't, then they really didn't want to be bothered with you.
Right.
And so you have to be strong. You got to kind of know how to, like, walk away from, that's what I'm looking for, walk away from certain stuff, because if not, you'll be like in a trap, kind of. You'll have to keep doing that. So I think I could be a lot further than where I'm at if I had decided to lay down and do certain stuff.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Is if I took the dirty route,
Yeah.
I might, but who knows?
A lot of people do it though. A lot of women do it, but again,
I got the kind of personality where I've always felt like I would probably come up missing because I'm hard headed. I'm aggressive in certain areas, so I'm like, I just can't really take those kinds of risks.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes they make me feel unsafe.
Well, that too, and then you have to look at like the con to it. Like, okay, if I sleep with this guy and I do this with him, I'm gonna have to keep doing that, and it's always gonna be this repetitive like. And then what if it ain't even good? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to waste my time.
This was just a waste of a waste of a situation.
Right, but I don't know, the pretty girl thing. That it might be some truth to that. I probably get away with some stuff because of that, but
You do. We do. We all do. Trust and believe. I know. And I was just telling my girlfriend because she's gorgeous and she has a gorgeous daughter and we all have gorgeous daughters. And I was like, you cannot tell me when you are out with your daughter, and her daughter is a model, that she doesn't get just a slightly treatment when she's with her amazingly gorgeous daughter. Because I know I do. When I go out with
That
my
you
baby
get what?
girl,
Say it again. What kind of treatment?
Better
the pretty girl treatment.
Pretty girl.
The pretty girl.
treatment.
I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe.
you want that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
here,
hear
I'll
you.
just give it to you. That
So, pretty girl problems. Who's that? Pretty girl problems. Leonard says, I applaud you ladies. Keep up the good work, fam. Thank you. Pretty girl problems are for sure an issue. So that's my daughter. I've got the three gorgeous daughters, and I'm just trying to make sure they keep their head on straight because it's a vicious world out here. And it's not just, don't get me wrong, it's not, pretty girl doesn't mean just by sight. It's a whole vibe. It's a whole feeling.
Yeah.
It's a light that people are drawn to. And oftentimes it isn't necessarily the beauty of your of the outer part. It's that inner part that actually shines.
Right.
That people are attracted to the light.
Well, you know what? That's true because I have some friends that are actual artists. They're known, they're big, and their attitude fucking sucks. Excuse my language, but like, and certain people like that, I can't even be around because if people don't respect you, I always say I want to go where I'm tolerated, or I want to go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated. And so if I get that energy, and a lot of times it's beautiful women that behave like that, and that makes them ugly.
It does
when they be a bad chick, but you don't have to what I'm saying? It's a certain way,
it's the way
that
you wear it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's nothing wrong, and it's nothing wrong with the strength part, coming out. Strong and feeling real good about yourself. That's great. Taylor says it is an advantage at the same time. I know, cause honey, I don't expect to pay for drinks. No, I don't.
Maybe I do get the pretty girl treatment, but I just don't notice.
Okay.
Maybe I do, and I just don't.
I do. I walk in it, honey. I walk in it. I walk in it, and I walk in the room with expectations.
And sometimes, but I feel like sometimes I could be so. You are so funny. I could be so mean because if I'm not feeling it or the guy's not attractive, I'm like, it shows on my face.
Right. Right. And then my eyes get tight. So what does the future look like for Tiffany? I know we've got a book on the way. We're in the studio. I didn't know you sang. What did I miss?
Yeah, so I just...
Huh?
I said, can we go back to the singing? Because she said she was in the studio recording.
Yeah, so I have a friend. He was actually just on here too watching. But we were just at his studio earlier, just kind of. We actually have a song we're going to work on. It's called Pretty Girl Anthem.
I
don't know.
Yeah, pretty and paid. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty and paid.
Not pretty and broke, pretty and paid. So, yeah, we're working on that. But I've been taking vocal lessons for like the last year and a half. I always wanted to get into music, but I don't think I really sat down and took it serious. Even with the same thing with acting,
Because you've got a great voice. Just
Thank
your
you.
projection. So I could imagine that there's some harmonic energy in there.
Yeah, so I just never really sat down and took stuff serious. So I think that's where I'm at. I'm getting older. Even with the acting, too, though. I mean... Acting in itself, you can naturally
Did you say I'm getting older?
Yeah, I am getting older. I am. But even with acting, too, I mean, you can naturally be talented, but if you don't work on your craft, then, I mean, shit.
Hello.
You got to work on your craft. Look at Kobe. He was and he was in the gym when people was out at the club partying.
That's
so.
right. That's right. You gotta study yourself to be assured.
Absolutely.
That to be the truth.
Yeah.
And so we can expect music.
Acting too, a little bit in there somewhere. Definitely modeling. That's always going to be a thing. And there's some other things that I'm working on too, though. Definitely more humanitarian work. I'll be going back to Kenya. That's actually where most of my work, my modeling stuff is done in Nairobi.
Can you tag us when you go back so
Absolutely.
we can prepare?
Absolutely.
Because our passports are ready. We just, need to make sure our money is aligned. How much money do we need to take to Kenya?
Well, $10,000 American USD, you're considered a millionaire there.
Oh.
With $10,000.
I'm moving.
Really?
I'm moving.
Yes,
I've been
ma'am.
looking for another place to go.
Really?
Yeah, you are considered 10,000 USD. You are considered a millionaire in Kenya.
So you could, is that how you survived for 6 months?
No. How did I survive? I mean, I had money that I had saved up, but there was other things I was doing there too, you know?
There was. I saw you on some talk shows.
Yeah,
I saw you on the back of some bikes.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah, modeling. I was blessed. I got to work with Emmanuel Jumbo. So Obama is Kenyan blood. His dad is Kenyan. So every time Obama and his family would come to Kenya, they would shoot with Emmanuel Jumbo, which is a good friend of mine. They would fly him out on jets, all kind of stuff. And he's the most humblest guy. So I did some work with him, and he shot me for free. Didn't charge me a dime. Just love, straight love. But yeah, so I actually will be going back to Nairobi, if not by the end of the year, beginning of next year.
Okay.
For a couple months, yeah.
We're going to make some plans.
Yeah, y'all come to Kenya.
No, it's a must.
And you will not come back. You will not want to come back.
I mean, the name of this show this month has been All Things Africa. I don't know what that's about. I don't know how God brought that together, but...
All right.
Did you say God?
Yeah.
What? I love that energy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Together. Sure did. So we have a few more minutes left. I want to make sure that the people know where to find you again. We're going to say that. You can find me, Jnine Roberts, on Facebook and on Instagram. Where can we find Jezzi?
You can find me on Instagram at Jezzi333 on Instagram, and Jezreel Osborne on Facebook.
We're working on the Let's Get It Together so we can combine this good stuff together.
Oh, yeah, and we have a site that we're building too. Jezzi and J9, the Jezzi and J9 experience. On Instagram.
Nice. I like that. Mm-hmm. That's dope.
And so where can we find you again?
So you guys can all follow me on my Instagram at Jnine, KenyanNyannese. And then you guys can also add me on Facebook at Tiffany K. Hatano.
Now, before we wrap up these last few minutes, tell me about the food. We are foodie influencers, and we want to know about the food.
So the food is great. So I am a seafood person, naturally. Yes. Even in America, I probably eat chicken 3 times out the month. I'm not a chicken person. But in Kenya, we eat a lot of ugali. So it's wet fish and ugali. It's literally, it's a tilapia fish. It's baked, and then it's in this tomato type sauce, and you eat it with your hands. And then they have this white dough, and then they call it skooma. It's greens, and you eat it with the greens.
I've seen that online.
Yeah, so good. I can't talk about it because now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, that sounds phenomenal. Yeah. Do we have any of those restaurants that you dine here in Las Vegas?
We don't. We have African restaurants here, but they don't make skooma. They don't make wet fish. It's one. Oh, and we have chapati. Chapati is so good. It's like a dough tortilla type thing, but it is so freaking good, and it's sweet. And you roll it and you eat it with beans, or you could eat it by itself. It makes you super thick too, but chapati is so good. It is so freaking good. Yeah, man, I miss home.
That's lovely. I know. Yeah. I miss home too, and I ain't been there. My heart longs.
Come, bring your butt to Kenya.
All right, we gonna do a trip to Kenya. Look at my son-in-law says, "Hey, moms."
He said 10 pay less. My mom said she's ready.
And Taylor says, I refuse to try dough and stuff until I get to Africa. I'll trust it in Africa.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad to have you on the show. We'll have a repeat once we have this book in order.
It's pretty girl season.
It's pretty girl season. We call it hibernation season, but quite frankly,
it's a pretty girl season.
Bring your pretty out. Listen, bring your pretty out. That's the statement of the day. For the ladies, bring your pretty
Say
out.
less. I'm going out tonight.
So with that, you can find us same place, same time. Let's get it together, 6 p.m. every Thursday.
Every
And
Thursday.
thank you so much for coming to the
Thank you
show.
for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
And
having me.
Jez, send us
Thank
out.
you so much for coming. And I'm sending peace, love, light, prosperity, and protection on this Thursday to us all. To you all.
All right. And with that, we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Great show.
What mic is she?
One, I believe.
Oh, it's time to eat.
It is. What are we eating?
I don't know. Somebody about to take me out to eat. I don't know. My friend.
You still on, honey. This is cute though.
We still on. Well, you know, I think that's the program director, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She can go ahead and sign off.
Hey, E.
Sign us out or we going to keep talking, girl.
No, I think
Y'all have fun tonight, whatever y'all do.
You ended the live.
Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry.
Is it Leave Studio?
Mhm.
There we go.
Okay.